Hello everybody and welcome back to another AOR Season 16 highlights video here for round number 15 I believe, the Singapore Grand Prix. And this is a track which in the past has been pretty good to me. In the past two seasons where I've raced here in AOR PS4 Split 1, I've been on the podium both times with I believe second in Season 14 and third in Season 15, even though last season wasn't the greatest race, but still managed to get a podium. So I was hoping for something similar here today, but I didn't really prepare too well for this because I had the AOR Project Cars 2.4 hours of Daytona the day before, so I wanted to be prepared for that as well as this. So I didn't really have too much time to practice along with schoolwork and everything, so yeah, not really coming into this too prepared, although when I did do some practice, my pace was actually really decent. I think on the Friday I did half a race and my pace on the soft tyres was pretty insane. I managed to do, I think if you follow me on Twitter you may have seen that I managed to do 8 laps in a row within a tenth of each other, and the times that I was doing as well was very quick, and it was looking pretty good for me. But when I was practicing on the Sunday, my pace was never really the same. I never really got anywhere near it, like anywhere close to the times I was doing on the Friday, so I wasn't sure why, because I was running exactly the same setup. But even so, in this qualifying session, currently in P8, and you can see my delta, even though it's up there, a tenth under my previous best time. Throughout the rest of the lap I don't have the delta, and that's pretty distracting when for the last I think 3 games you've had a delta and then suddenly it disappears. It doesn't help in qualifying at all, but we're pushing nonetheless, and I don't think my qualifying was too great in terms of just general qualifying pace around here, but let's see what we can do. I think my PB I did was a 33.1, so if we can do something like that, that should be pretty decent. So heading towards the line now, and we do a 33.3, which puts us 5th on the grid, which is actually a lot better than I've had previously. And you can see Lucas actually had a 5-place grid penalty as well, so that puts us on P4 on the grid, which is the highest we've been in quite a while. So rounding up to 5 red lights here for the Singapore Grand Prix, and it's lights out and away we go. And the start seems to be pretty decent, although losing a bit of ground to the cars in front, but we're going to maintain P4 heading into turn number 1 in front of Williams Alex, starting on the Hypersoft tyres here for this race, which to be honest I did think the Ultrasofts would be the best tyre to start on, but after doing a little bit more practice I found out that the Hypers was the best tyre to start the race on, and it's going to be a one-stop pitting between lap 3, 4 or 5 going onto the soft tyres to the end of the race. So got to try and look after the tyre temps and just the general condition of these Hypersoft tyres in the first stint, because if you overheat them then it basically becomes undrivable around here. So if we can stick with these leading guys whilst maintaining the tyres and looking after well, saving fuel, saving ERS and everything, then we're going to be in a good position. And if I can fight for a podium, that'll be a good result. It's been quite a while since I've been on the podium, so if we can achieve that here, then that'll be a good result. But you can see Flores in front has gone a little bit wide, so already he's under a little bit of pressure from Flying Finn behind, and then we're still pretty comfortable in P4 at the moment, and we just got to get into a rhythm. And yeah, as I said, look after the tyres, look after the fuel and ERS as well, and then we should be in a good position. I knew my pace on the softs wasn't probably as good as my pace on the Hypersoft tyres, but if I can fight for a podium and get into P3 maybe in front of Flying Finn, then who knows what we can achieve here. And already here on lap 3 I think Flying Finn was starting to struggle on his tyres, and the two McLarens are starting to pull away a little bit. We're still in touch with the leaders, and if we can clear Flying Finn then we're going to be in P3, which is where we want to be at this point in the race. So if we can clear him, then yeah, we can maybe hunt down the two McLarens in front. But you can see he's already struggling on his tyres. We've got Williams Alex pretty close behind as well, and then I think there's a little bit of a gap after that, but if we can get a good run out of this corner we should be able to challenge Flying Finn heading towards turn number 4. So we got the slipstream, we got the DRS, we got ERS and overtake as well. Heading towards turn number 4, we're going to go down the inside here of Flying Finn into P3, and we break a little bit later than him. We go through up into P3, and now we're in a very good position. We're on the podium at the moment, and of course we're still going to have to fight the people who started outside the top 10 and who are currently running on the soft tyres, who are going to have a massive pace advantage at the end of the race, so we've got to be wary of them. But right now I was concentrating on trying to catch the two McLarens in front, and you can see already that gap is coming down. So at this moment I was hopeful of not just a podium, but maybe even something more than that, maybe even a win at this stage, but who knows. We're just going to have to wait and see what we can do, as we tell Jeff to be quiet, because we don't want him saying any kind of pointless stuff at this stage in the race. So yeah, the gap in front to Flores is coming down, and we're slowly starting to pull away from Flying Finn as well. they're starting to struggle on their tyres, and Flying Finn's also holding up Williams Alex a little bit as well. But we're actually going to come into the pits at the end of this lap, which maybe is a little bit early, but I didn't want to be overcut by anyone, and yeah, I thought that was the best thing to do. So we're going to come into the pits. You can see Michael, who's being closed in by Floris actually, has stayed out another lap, and Floris in front has come in, and we've come into the pits as well here on lap 4. I think Williams Alex has stayed out as well, and Flying Finn's followed us in as well. As into the pits we go now, going on to the soft tyres from here to the end of the race. And yeah, it's quite a while on these tyres, especially it being the longest race of the season as well, so we're going to have to manage them and just make sure we don't overheat them. But I wasn't too confident of my pace on these tyres because, as I said earlier on, my pace when I practiced on the Friday was really good on these tyres. It was really consistent, but just on the day, on the Sunday of me practicing, I just had nowhere near the same amount of pace on these tyres, and I don't know what it was, but yeah, I'm literally clueless as to why. So yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see what we can do here. But already, as soon as I left the pits, I was starting to struggle on these tyres. I just didn't have much confidence on them. I didn't have a good feeling driving with them. But you can see Michael's come out of the pits. He's actually behind Floris, who's undercut him, and we've managed to stay in front of Williams Alex, who's managed to jump or overcut Flying Finn into P4, well, effectively P4 out of the cars that are pitted. So we're currently still on the podium, but you can see moving on to lap 9, yeah, already the two McLarens are starting to pull away a little bit, and I'm starting to be under threat from Alex. I think Flying Finn's after that as well, and then Lucas, who had the grid penalty, is behind that as well. So already under a little bit of pressure, and already the pace isn't great. And you can see Alex has the slipstream, he has the DRS heading towards turn 4, and he looks to the outside. We have to defend that already, so yeah, under a little bit of pressure right now, and the pace is not looking good. And you can see now onto lap 10, same situation again. Alex this time though is a little bit closer, and he's going to go for a move around the outside here towards turn 4, and he gets the move done before the corner. And yeah, his pace was just better than mine, so there's no point really fighting him too hard. And I was hoping maybe being behind him might enable me to maybe sort of be pulled up towards the two McLarens, and hopefully I can break away from the cars behind. But you can see already Alex has pulled a gap on us, and I just had no pace in the slightest. And yeah, as I said, I'm not sure what it was, but you can see once again we're under pressure from the cars behind. So yeah, the pace on the Hypersofts compared to the pace I had on these tyres is very, very different, and yeah, I have no idea why there's such a contrast in pace. But another thing that was affecting me was I've had this issue with my wheel for a couple of weeks now, where if I shift down, sometimes it doesn't actually register and it doesn't shift down. So I didn't really have it at Monza, for some reason it went away there. I had it a little bit at Spa and Hungary as well, and I was starting to get it, I had it in the Daytona 2.4 hours as well before this, and I was getting it a lot in this stint of the race as well, so that wasn't helping in the slightest. But you can see Flying Finn went up the inside there of turn 4 and is now hanging around the outside of the hairpin, which is the inside for the next corner, and going side by side here towards the Singapore Sling. And we actually make a little bit of contact there down the straight, and I think that was purely desync more than anything, and he actually hit me under braking as well. So I don't think on his screen there was any contact, but as you would have seen there, the contact was pretty huge, and when you're driving that feels massive, and I thought I was going to go into the wall then. But yeah, that's purely desync more than anything else, which is not great. But you can see again Flying Finn is going to the outside here of turn 4 here on lap 14. We're having to defend so hard, and this is losing us a heap of time to not only the cars in front, but also the cars who have stayed out and are currently running on the soft tyres, and they're going to be on the ultra softs in the final stint of the race, who are going to have such a pace advantage on us. We're losing time to them as well, so we're not going to have a big enough gap. And you can see here off to the side, you can see it's Alex's car, but that's not actually him. He was actually behind me and still going in the race, but his car was parked off to the side, and I've had that glitch before. I had it in season 15 round 2 at China, if you remember that, and it actually took me out of the race when basically an invisible car was parked on the racing line, and it didn't ghost, and I got damage from it when the actual driver of that car was in P5 or something, like 20 seconds behind me, or 10 seconds behind me or something. So Alex is actually still going in this race, but for some reason on my screen only, his car is being placed at random points in the circuit, and unfortunately that glitch has carried on from 2017 onto this game. But you can see Flying Finn has gone down the inside at the hairpin, and I wasn't expecting that. and he's got a pretty nice move there done on me, and there's nothing really I can say about that other than, yeah, he just got past fairly and cleanly, and I wasn't expecting that, and he caught me off guard, and that's also enabled Lucas now to go through as well. So we're being passed quite a lot. Our pace is not good at all on these tyres, and it's not looking good for the rest of the race. But you can see here, on to lap 18 now, we've got Ovidi Kink, who is a reserve I think in this league, who's come back for this race due to I think Nervo Tank pulling out, who yeah, Ovidi Kink started on the soft tyres, and right now his pace is not great, and we're going to try and find a way through on him as quickly as possible. We managed to do that at the Singapore Sling there, following Lucas through, and we are now in P11, and of course you've still got cars who are yet to pit, but we're also going to be under threat from them later on in the race. So obviously earlier on in the race I thought maybe I can fight for a win round here. We're in a comfortable podium, and it's just amazing how sort of the contrast is compared to the pace I had on the Hypersofts. We're now fighting for low points, and you can see Williams Jim Roy, who has pitted, is already going past us on the ultra soft tyres. There's no point fighting him at all, and yeah, we're going to have to let him go effectively. And also we've got Nardi behind on the ultra soft tyres, and I think a couple of other cars have just come out the pits as well on the ultra soft tyres, so we're going to be under threat from them as well. And you can see already Nardi is right on the back of us, and you can see how much Williams Jim Roy in front has pulled away, setting the fast lap of the race. Nardi goes through as well, not going to fight him because there's no point with his pace advantage, so he goes through up into P8, and now we've got Jarno right behind us as well, and then I think after that we've got Tim Palm, and Jarno's already going down inside here of turn 3, and there's nothing I can do to fight that. He goes through, and already he's pulling away, even out of the traction zone. You can just see the difference in traction, and now we're under threat from Tim Palm. We're going to go a little bit defensive for Tim Palm here into turn number 4, and he goes around the outside of us. He just got so much more confidence on the brakes and with the traction and everything. He goes around the outside, and we've been passed 4 times in basically a lap and a bit, and that was pretty much, as a competitive racer, that's one of the most demoralising things you can have in the league race, just being passed like that and not being able to fight them at all. I just had no confidence on these tyres, and obviously their tyres were fresher and softer, so they're going to be quicker anyway, but even so the pace was not great. And it shows as well how one moment we're fighting for a podium to the next where we're fighting for currently P9 with Lucas. It just shows the calibre of this league, and it's definitely one of the most competitive leagues on all platforms on this game. I'd say if not the most competitive, because it's just insane in terms of competition this season. Every race has someone different fighting at the front, and you never know really the result. It's so unpredictable as well, so the calibre of drivers this season has been unreal. And yeah, I'm just going to see what I can do in the remainder of the season, see how high I can finish up. We're out of the title fight effectively now, so we just got to go out there and try and get some podiums, get some wins in the remaining races, and see where we finish in the overall standings. But you can see Lucas as well is in a similar situation to me. He's struggling on the soft tyres as well, so my pace at this stage was a little bit better than his, so we're going to try and find a way through this lap here on lap 28. So we're going to look to the outside like we did on the last lap, although we switch it back to the inside, and there's not really much of a gap there, but we go down the inside anyway, and you can see he's got the switch back on me. He sort of forced me towards the wall there, and that's enabled him to get the switch back on the exit, and he goes back through into P10. But obviously Lucas is more of a championship contender than me, so him being down in P9, it says P10, but that's because of the glitch with Alex's car, but him being down in P9 is obviously, like, it has a huge impact on his championship fight, so not a great race for him either. But looking to the outside once again on this lap here, lap 29, going around the outside of turn 4, and once again we can't really find a way through on the outside, although we're still there heading towards the hairpin, but we back out and we look for a cut back here, but he defends that pretty nicely, so we're still having to remain in P10 for the time being. So I was hoping I can find a way through in the next part, or in the final few laps of the race, to try and get P9, which is only 2 points, so it's pretty poor. And in the second half of the season, where I thought I'd be stronger, my results so far in the second half, I've had a pretty poor run of form recently, so in the final 6 rounds of the season I've just got to try and go out there and do my best before my exams in the summer. And then obviously I'm not going to be in season 17, although I might join midway through, who knows. But you can see down the straight here on lap 30, once again going around the outside here of Lucas, towards turn number 4. This time we can get it done just about, and we managed to hold on. He's looking to the inside of the hairpin, now he looks to the outside, and that's compromised our line. And you can see Lucas has gone into the wall, and he was trying a move that was never really on there around the outside of the hairpin, and he's damaged his wing, and that puts him out the points, and I think he did retire in the end. So bad day for Lucas, and definitely a bad result for his championship, considering Roy actually took the win. But you can see that there was, for some reason, the tyre skid mark was floating, and now we've got Alex. Well, it's not actually Alex, as I said, but his car was just parked on the racing line, and this time I didn't hit it, unlike season 15 China. So I avoided that, and you would have seen how much time there Curly gained on me because of that. He obviously didn't have that on his screen like everyone else in the lobby, so it makes no sense how that glitch has continued from one game onto the next. It's not really great from Codemasters. I hope they do something about that, but yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. But you can see already as well, the fireworks have gone off even though no one's actually crossed the line to win the race yet, so that's 3 glitches in a lap. So yeah, not really too good, is it really, the state of the multiplayer on this game. But you can see heading towards the final, well, we're in the final sector of the race now, on the final lap. Roy took the win from 15th on the grid, I think, and his teammate Tim Palm took 2nd from 16th, so 15th and 16th on the grid for the 2 Red Bulls to finish 1 and 2 is absolutely unreal. So that just shows how unpredictable this league is. But we crossed the line in P9, and I think Floris actually got quite a few penalties because he was driving like a bit of a nutter in the final few laps of the race, so we actually get P8 from that, I believe, because I think he got something like 25 seconds worth of time penalties or something. So P8 in the end, so not great again, but hopefully we can get back towards the sharp end. I say this last time, but I'm going to say it again. Hopefully we can get back towards the sharp end in the next few races. So I'll see you for round number 16, which is Russia. So I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.